Bullies spit in the face of the new black kid, but he was a black belt fighter. That was the title people would whisper much later, long after the school hallway fight went viral, long after the world learned who the quiet new kid really was. But on the day the story began, nobody knew anything about him. Not his past, not his training, not the battles he fought long before he ever stepped into Ridgewood Middle School. His name was Caleb Turner, a soft-spoken 12-year-old boy who kept his shoulders low and his eyes thoughtful, as if he carried something heavier than his backpack. Most kids didn't notice him at first. He walked quietly, nodded politely, and tried to fit into the noisy new world around him. But bullies? They always noticed the quiet ones. The very first morning Caleb walked into school, 3 boys stood at the lockers like guards. Their names were Brady, Colt, and Derek, the kind of boys who walked like they owned every hallway. Brady was the leader, tall for his age, with a smirk that always hinted trouble. Colt was the loud one, the kind who laughed even when nothing was funny. Derek was the sneaky one, the kind who didn't start trouble but loved to help it grow. When they saw Caleb walk past them, dark-skinned, nervous, carrying a worn-out backpack, they exchanged slow, wicked smiles. "Hey," Brady called, stepping in front of him. "You new here?" Caleb nodded. "Yes, I'm just—" Before he could finish, Colt snickered. "Look at his shoes." "Bro, did you get those from the trash?" Derek added, "Nah, the trash would never take those." They all laughed like they rehearsed it. Caleb didn't say anything. He stood straight, calm, like someone who had learned long ago not to show feelings too fast. He tried to move around them, but Brady shoved him lightly, testing him, as if waiting to see what the new kid would do. Caleb simply said, "Please let me go. I'm trying to get to class." That calm voice, that calmness itself, irritated Brady. Bullies hate when someone doesn't play their game. "Or what?" Brady challenged, taking a step closer. Caleb didn't react. He didn't flinch. He didn't push back. He just stared softly, silently, in a way that made Brady feel strangely bothered, like the new kid wasn't scared enough. And that annoyed him more. By lunchtime, the rumors had already begun. The new kid thinks he's better than everyone. He doesn't talk. He's weird. He's scared to fight. But the truth was simple. Caleb wasn't scared of fight. He was scared of fighting. Because fighting, to him, wasn't a game. It wasn't something you did to look cool. It wasn't something you played with. Caleb had learned that the hard way. That night, while other kids were home doing homework, Caleb stood barefoot in a small room inside the community center near his apartment. Mats covered the floor. Wooden shelves held training equipment. A framed photo on the wall showed Caleb's father, Master Elijah Turner, a legendary martial artist who taught thousands of children how to defend themselves with honor, not anger. His father had passed away 2 years earlier, but his lessons lived inside Caleb like fire. As Caleb knelt before his father's framed photo, he whispered, "I tried again today, Dad. I try to walk away like you taught me, but I think trouble is coming." He placed his black belt, the belt he earned after 8 years of training, gently across his knees. And I don't want to hurt anyone. But trouble didn't care what Caleb wanted. The next day, during recess, Brady and his friends cornered Caleb near the fence behind the basketball court. A few kids gathered around, whispering, excited the way people get when they sense a fight coming. Brady folded his arms. "So, new kid," he said, "yesterday you didn't answer me. You think you're too good for us?" "No," Caleb said softly. "I don't think that. You walk around like you're some genius or something," Colt added. "I just don't like fights," Caleb answered. Derek smirked. "That's perfect, because Brady does." Before Caleb could step back, Brady spit, right at Caleb's face. Gasps burst through the crowd. Time seemed to slow. The spit slid down Caleb's cheek, warm, disgusting, humiliating. Kids laughed. Cole pointed and howled. Derek whipped out his phone to record. Caleb stood frozen, not because he was scared, but because of something deeper, a memory. A painful one. The memory of his father on his hospital bed, whispering, "Promise me, Never use your strength to hurt someone. Only protect. Only defend. And so Caleb didn't wipe his face. He didn't clench his fists. He didn't show anger. He just said quietly, "Why did you do that?" Brady shrugged like it was nothing. "Because you're nothing. And around here, you do what I say or—" Before he could finish, a teacher shouted, "Hey, what's going on here?" The crowd scattered like leaves in wind. Brady quickly stepped back and said, "Nothing, sir. We were just talking." But the teacher didn't see the spit. He didn't see the phones. He didn't see the humiliation. He just sent everyone back to class. As Caleb walked away, Brady muttered, "After school, behind the gym, you're dead." Caleb didn't answer. He didn't need to, because deep down he already knew what was coming, and he feared the same thing every black belt fears, not losing, but winning too easily. After school, the sky looked bruised, purple and gray, as if it felt the tension in the air. Kids rushed behind the gym where the old concrete wall gave shade and secrecy. It was the unofficial fight zone, the place students used when they didn't want teachers watching. Brady stood in the center, bouncing lightly on his feet like someone who had seen too many action movies. Colt cracked his knuckles loudly. Derek held his phone high, ready to record every moment for social media. Caleb walked into the space calmly, his backpack still on. His posture was relaxed, but inside his heart beat fast. He wasn't scared of getting hurt. He wasn't scared of losing. He was scared of hurting them. He had spent years learning control, discipline, how to fight without hatred, how to protect people even when they attacked him. But kids who didn't understand martial arts only saw fighting as a way to feel strong. Brady smirked. "Look who showed up. Thought you'd run home crying." "I don't want to fight you," Caleb said softly. "Oh, you're in a fight," Brady growled, stepping closer. "You embarrassed me today. You made me look weak." "No," Caleb said. "You did that to yourself." A few kids gasped, not because Caleb sounded rude, but because he sounded true. Brady's face turned red. "You think you're tough? You think you can mouth off to me?" Caleb shook his head. "I don't think anything. I just want to go home." "You're not going anywhere," Brady snapped. Then he shoved Caleb hard. Caleb stepped back without losing balance. Brady shoved him again. Caleb didn't move his hands. Colt laughed. "He's scared. Look at him freeze." But Caleb wasn't frozen. He was calculating, measuring distance, watching footwork, remembering his father's voice. The strongest fighter is the one who chooses peace until peace is no longer an option. Brady swung suddenly, a wild punch meant to impress the crowd. Caleb slipped backward, letting the punch pass inches from his chin. The crowd roared. Brady swung again. Caleb slid to the side. Again. Caleb ducked. Again. Caleb stepped back. Brady grew angrier with each miss. "Stop moving. Fight me." Caleb's voice stayed soft. "I don't want to hurt you." "You can't hurt me," Brady shouted. Then Brady lunged. A full body, reckless charge. Colt and Derek cheered. Kids screamed. Phones recorded. Caleb had 1 second to choose. Let the bully tackle him, or defend himself. He chose defense. But even then, he used the lightest move possible, a gentle redirect. He stepped aside, placed one hand on Brady's shoulder, one hand on Brady's wrist, and guided the charging boy forward. Brady flew past Caleb, lost balance, and hit the ground with a heavy thud. Gasps exploded. The crowd froze. Brady lay on the ground, stunned, more embarrassed than injured. Caleb stepped back, palms up, the universal sign of peace. "Please stop. I don't want this." But embarrassment is fuel for rage. Brady jumped up, face red, eyes wild. "You think you can throw me? You think you're some kind of ninja?" He ran again, faster than before. Caleb dodged again. Brady fell again. This time the laughter was loud. Brady snapped. "Get him!" He screamed at Colt and Derek. Colt hesitated. "All of us." "Yes. Now." The two boys charged. 3 against 1. Caleb inhaled slowly and exhaled even slower. Something inside him shifted. Not anger, not fear but resolve. Colt swung a punch. Caleb blocked with one forearm, stepped in, tapped Colt's knee to unbalance him, and gently pushed him aside. Colt fell to the ground, unharmed but surprised. Derek tried grabbing Caleb from behind. Caleb ducked, stepped forward, grabbed Derek's wrist, and spun him harmlessly to the side. Kids screamed like they were watching a superhero movie. But Caleb wasn't using power. He wasn't even fighting. He was controlling, blocking, redirecting, neutralizing, never attacking, never hurting. Brady rushed again, screaming like a storm. Caleb stepped back, lifted one leg, and tapped Brady's stomach with the gentlest front kick. Not enough to hurt, just enough to stop Brady's momentum. Brady fell backward. Silence. Complete, breathless silence. Every kid stood there with their mouth open. Colt whispered, What is he? Derek whispered, I think he's trained. A smaller student near the back said, He fights like the guys in movies. Caleb stepped away from the three boys and said, I don't want to fight any of you. Ever. Leave me alone. I want peace. But the story wasn't over. Because standing behind the crowd was a teacher, Mr. Doyle, the assistant principal, who had seen only the last second of the fight. He saw Caleb standing. He saw Brady on the ground. He saw Colt and Derek getting up. He saw a crowd. He saw phones. And he chose the easiest answer, blame the new kid. Caleb Turner. Mr. Doyle shouted, My office. Now. The crowd gasped. Brady smirked. Not because he won, but because he knew Caleb was in trouble. Caleb lowered his head and followed Mr. Doyle, even though injustice burned inside him. He didn't defend himself. He didn't argue. He didn't point at the bullies, because that wasn't who he was. But trouble was only beginning. Behind him, Brady whispered to Colt and Derek, Tomorrow we finish this. In the office, Caleb sat silently while Mr. Doyle paced back and forth, shaking his head angrily. A fight on your second day of school? Completely unacceptable, he shouted. 3 boys say you attacked them. Do you deny it? Caleb looked down. I didn't attack anyone. Oh, so they tripped into your fists. Mr. Doyle snapped. Caleb didn't answer. He knew no explanation would matter. Adults like Mr. Doyle saw what they wanted to see. Just like bullies. Just like people who judged his skin before hearing his voice. Mr. Doyle pointed to the phone. I'm calling your mother. Caleb's stomach tightened. His mother worked 2 jobs. She didn't need more stress. She didn't need another problem. She didn't need to hear her son was in trouble again. When she finally arrived, tired, sweaty, her uniform still on, she looked at her son with disappointment and worry mixed in her eyes. Caleb, what happened? Before he could speak, Mr. Doyle answered for him. Your son deliberately attacked 3 students. Violent behavior is unacceptable here. He's suspended for 3 days. Caleb's mother closed her eyes in pain. Not because she believed the lie, but because she knew no one would believe the truth. Caleb walked out with her silently. That night at home, his mother whispered, I know you're a good boy. I know you didn't start anything. But you have to stay away from trouble. You have to be careful. Caleb nodded, but inside he felt something break. How could he stay away from trouble when trouble hunted him? The next day, even though he was suspended, Caleb went to the community center. He knelt in front of his father's photo again. Dad, he whispered, I try not to fight. I try to be peaceful, but they won't stop. As he knelt there, a voice interrupted. You kept your promise. Caleb turned. It was Master Han, his father's closest friend and now Caleb's mentor. The old man sat beside him and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You used only defense. You protected yourself without harming others. That's true strength. But it wasn't enough, Caleb whispered. They're still coming after me. Master Han nodded thoughtfully. That is because they fear what they do not understand. When you stand calm, bullies feel small. When you stay peaceful, angry people feel weak. So what do I do? Caleb asked. Master Han gazed at him with wise, patient eyes. You do not fight to win. You fight to teach. Caleb didn't understand at first, but he would. The next morning, Caleb returned to school early to get homework. Even though he was suspended, he was allowed to pick up assignments. The hallways were empty except for one person, Brady, standing at Caleb's locker like he was waiting. But this time, Brady wasn't alone. His father, Mr. Carrington, a tall, angry man with a booming voice, stood beside him. "You're the one," the father shouted, pointing his finger at Caleb. "You hurt my boy. You think you can come into this school and attack people?" Brady fake sobbed dramatically. "He threw me on the ground, Dad. He attacked all of us." Caleb swallowed hard. "That's not what happened." "Oh, really?" Mr. Carrington barked. "So the whole school is lying?" Before Caleb could respond, a voice cut through the hallway. "Actually, yes. They are lying." Everyone turned. Standing there was Ava Johnson, a quiet girl from their class. She held her phone tightly in her hand, and her face looked determined. "I recorded the whole thing," she said. Brady's face turned pale. Mr. Carrington fumed. "Give me that phone right now." "No," Ava said firmly. "You don't get to threaten people because your son bullies kids." More students began appearing, drawn by the noise. Some of them had recordings too. Some had screenshots. Some had seen everything. And slowly, something happened that Brady had never experienced before. People stopped being afraid of him. The assistant principal appeared, confused. "What is going on here?" Ava stepped forward. "Sir, Caleb never attacked anyone." Brady and his friends cornered him. They spit on him. They tried to jump him. Caleb only defended himself. Mr. Doyle frowned. "Do you have proof?" Every kid lifted their phone. A sea of screens. Videos. Photos. Audio. Brady's lies shattered instantly. Mr. Doyle watched one clip, only one, and his face changed from stern to horrified. He looked at Caleb slowly. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake." Caleb didn't say, "I told you so." He didn't look proud. He didn't smile. He just said softly, "I don't want them punished. I just want them to stop." Everyone stared, even Brady, especially Brady. That was the moment something in Brady cracked. Not his pride, not his ego, but something deeper. For the first time, he saw what real strength looked like. Not fists, not anger, not fear, control, compassion, power without cruelty. Brady's voice shook. Why didn't you hit me? You could have." Caleb looked him in the eyes. "Because I know what it feels like to be hurt." Brady didn't cry, but his eyes softened in a way no one had ever seen. His father grabbed his shoulder. "Come on, we're leaving." But Brady pulled away. "Dad, I'm staying. I need to fix this." He looked at Caleb again. "I'm sorry. For everything." The crowd murmured in shock. Caleb nodded. "Thank you." A moment of silence passed. Then Mr. Doyle cleared his throat. "Caleb Turner, your suspension is lifted. And Brady, Colt, Derek, you three will be attending conflict resolution classes supervised by Caleb." "What?" Brady asked. Caleb blinked. "Me?" Mr. Doyle nodded. "You clearly know how to handle conflict better than any of us." Master Han's words echoed in Caleb's mind. "You do not fight to win. You fight to teach." And suddenly, Caleb understood. Weeks passed. Brady, Colt, and Derek began their classes. At first, they resisted. They groaned. They complained. They rolled their eyes. But Caleb didn't teach punching. He taught breathing, balance, respect, discipline. And slowly, the boys changed. Brady stopped picking on people. Colt stopped laughing at others' pain. Derek stopped recording fights. They even began helping Caleb stop other kids from bullying. Yes, the bullies became protectors. All because one boy refused to answer cruelty with cruelty. One boy walked away from violence even when he could win. One boy kept a promise to his father. And the world noticed. When the video of the fight was finally posted, not by Derek, not by Colt, not by Ava, but by a teacher, it went viral. Millions watched the quiet kid who dodged punches with calm eyes. Millions saw the boy who refused to hurt anyone. Millions saw how strength can be gentle. Reporters came. News stations came. Parents wrote letters. Kids from other schools asked to train with him. But Caleb didn't care about being famous. He cared about something else, something his father would be proud of. He cared about breaking the cycle. He cared about rebuilding what anger destroys. He cared about healing others, not hurting them. And so the story that the world repeated was simple. Bullies spit in the face of a new black kid, but he was a black belt fighter. But the real ending was this. Caleb didn't fight to win. He fought to change, and he did.